Welcome to T.O.L Studios, and today in lesson 13 we are going to take a look at the flat keys, and that is how the last three lessons I introduced triad chords, showing you how we could take three notes and we are building those upon the scales that I had you learn. So check out the lessons 10 and 11, that's where I introduced chords. In the last lesson I kind of just hit up on a lot more scales to get you through all your sharp scales. I'm going to start now the same way with the key of F major, because it has one flat. That way we can go to two flats and then three flats. So same old thing, check out previous videos as far as finger combinations. I'm not going to waste time here, you got to check those out so I can kind of keep moving forward. Doing the same thing though. I stated this also in the last lesson. If you have any questions, don't feel like you're stuck, you can always go to my website, TOLstudios.com. Shoot me an email. I'll be glad to answer any questions that way too. So we're in the key of F, and we're basically going to have one flat, the B flat. That's going to give us our scale. And again, I told you sometimes you won't maybe follow this. So normally for your right hand, the key of F, one way you can do it is go 1, 2, 3, 4, curl under, thumb, 2, 3, 4. I've seen different ways. I've seen some kind of start. Honestly, that's usually the easiest for me. Okay, so I went 1, 2, 3, 4. That was the B flat, then C, thumb, 2, 3, 4. Same thing backwards. Okay, I talked about this in the last lesson. You do that as many times as you can, even if it's not fast, just so you know you're doing the right fingers. And even more important, that you just are seeing that's the only one that's flatted, or in this case it's a flat, but the last scales, they were sharps. Today's lesson, they're all going to be flats. Come over to your left hand. I'm telling you on this one, I keep it the same, the good old one. Okay, which does add some confusion when you go to put the two hands together, because they're a little different, especially if you're so, like me, I'm a creature of habit. If I get this trained to go 1, 2, 3 and curl under, the last thing I want to do is now make it go 4, and it changed it. So if you don't have to change them, I've a lot of times I honestly can, if I want, do it this way. But I'm telling you, it's just so awkward, you'd be better. So the ones that are really messed up where it feels like you're going to sloppily hit the key, that's probably where you might want to change it. It's the right thing to do so you can play it more accurate. Okay? But if you put those together, same thing, do it slow. And you do it as many times as you need to till you see that scale and see, just know that the only one we got flat in this one is our B flat. Okay, now the same thing when we take the chords, we're starting on the F, we're going to go every other note in that scale. All we got to do is remember this B flat when we need the letter B. So we got F, A, C, that's our F chord. We go to the next chord, we're going to have G, B flat, and then our D. Our next one, we're going A, C, E. Okay, and then we're going to go B flat, D, F. Okay, then we're going to go C, E, G. Then we're going to go D, F, A. And then we're going to go E, G, B flat. And then we're going to finish just like always what we started on, F, A, C. Okay, so again we've got F, A, C, G, B flat, D. And remember I talked about this in the last lesson. You kind of hear that kind of as a sad sound. I'll talk about this in more definition later. That's going to be like what we call a minor chord. The first chord I gave you, the F, A, and the C, was a little bit more cheerful. That's a major chord. I'll go in more. I'm keeping these real simple still, just so you can get the chords down. But we're just calling it F, F, A, C, our F chord. The G chord, G, B flat, D. Okay, then their next one was the A, C, E. Then we have a B flat, D, F. have a C, E, G, and then a D, F, A. And like I talked about before too, sometimes we've learned this chord already in a few scales. Even though we were doing sharp scales, you've learned these in this one for sure in the key of C major. It's just in a different sequence again. I'll explain that much more. Okay, the last chord we're hitting here, E, G, B flat. And then we finish on what we started, F, A, C. Again, I would eventually start going backwards. So I'm going F, A, C, E, G, B flat, D, F, A, C, E, and G, then a B flat, D, and a F, then a A, C, and a E, a G, B flat, and a D, and then we finish with F, A, C. And you get that to the point where eventually you are just running these straight up. And even if you bump one like you just heard me do, I knew that real quick because I know what scale I'm in. And that's what you want to do so you can react. You'll find out later on as I show you all these tricks and different types of music, whether it's rock and roll, blues, country, you don't always follow the rules. And I know everybody, my students a lot of times are like, well then great, what are you making me learn all these scales for if I'm going to break them? But you can't really understand what you're breaking if you don't have an idea of what you're first following. So it's just a great way to understand where the chords come from, how they exist from scales. I'm telling you, as we kind of branch into that later, then the fun starts. I can start saying, okay, here's common scales that rock music's going to use, that country's going to use, that blues is going to use, funk music, jazz. I mean, it's all under an umbrella where it's a lot of the same things. It's just you'll find out certain styles of music might follow something a little bit more, like maybe jazz does something a little bit more than, say, what rock and roll will do. So I'm telling you, in any case, I used to be, when I first grew up, it was rock and roll. Nothing against it. That's the type of music I played. Had the nice long hair. You can tell I don't have that anymore, and that was, you couldn't get me to learn blues scales at that time because like, oh, it's blues. I'm rock and roll. Guess what? Rock and roll comes from blues. So it's just so much when you hear me talk about blues, you need to get the foundation so I can show you how it exists in your different styles. Okay? So again, that's why I'm hammering these scales so you can just see how the chords and the scales work. So that was the F major scale we were in that had one flat, B flat. Now we're going to look at a B flat scale, and we're going to have two flats. You're going to have your B flat and your E flat. Okay, so that's going to give us a B flat, C, and then we're going to get our D, E flat, F, G, A. And honestly, I used the same fingers I just did for the F scale for my right hand. I went B flat, C, D, E flat, and I just curled under with my thumb to the F, G, A. Okay, so it's not that much different. Then I went B flat, or 4, 3, 2, 1, crossed over with my fourth finger, 3. Okay, then for your left hand, you go pinky, 4. This one I'm telling you I leave the same, because then you just cross over. Now I'll admit, that one doesn't bug me. It is a little weird. I've seen some people kind of show you a different combination, but it kind of helps you cross over at the end. I'm just kind of go. I'm telling you, I trained myself enough. Make sure you get an F in there. That you could still do it this way, and it doesn't bug me. I would just say as long as you know you're not kind of making your hand over, exaggerate. Otherwise, you might want to change the finger combination, like I just did with the right hand. Because in this case, if I was on this one and I went, it might feel weird to swing my thumb under. That's why it felt better just to do it with my fourth finger and then cross. Okay, so, but if you got, I don't have long fingers, but all that kind of changes too, depending on what your finger size is too. Okay, same thing once you know those scales, then you're practicing those together as much as you can. Same thing up and down till you got those memorized, okay? I'm going to deal more on the chords for right now though. So for the chord for that first one, we're going to have the B flat, D, and an F. Then we're going to have a C, E flat, and a G. to have a D, F, A, then an E flat, G, B flat, then an F, A, C, okay, then a G, B flat, D, and then an A, C, and an E flat, and then we finish with B flat, D, F. Okay, now by the way, when you're doing their chords, if that sounds like it's too high pitched there, just the reverse of this, if they sound too low, you don't have to play them, so just move them down. Maybe you start the chords here. B flat, D, F. C, E flat, G. They're still the same chords. D, F, A, as long as you're hitting the same letters. E flat, G, B flat. Then a F, A, C. G, B flat, D. A, C, E flat. But see, you might be able to hear those chords better here. B flat, D, F. Sometimes you get a little too high up here, hitting them high, they just sound a little soft. Just as if I hit them too far down, they're going to sound too muddy. Okay, so normally you're kind of trying to do your chords in this area, but there's no wrong or right way, just follow those same letters. That was the key of B flat major. We had our two flats, and that's what we were building those chords off of. The next scale I was going to show you was going to be an E flat scale, and you're going to have three flats, an E flat, A flat, and a B flat, so that gives you... And again, same thing depending on your fingers. This one doesn't bother me too much to go the normal way. And I'm doing the same thing over here. E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat. E flat, D, C, B flat, A flat, G, F, E flat. Same thing when you're ready, you're putting those together. Okay, and again, I can't stress it, go as slow as you need to build that up. Now when you're building your chords, the same old thing. We're taking the three flats, E flat, A flat, and B flat. We're going every other note in the scale. So if we start on E flat, we're skipping F, G, and skipping the A flat to B flat. So we've got E flat, G, B flat. Our next chord, we're going F, A flat, C. Our next one, we're going to go G, B flat, D. Then we're going A flat, C, E flat. Then we're going to go B flat, D, F. Then we're going C, E flat, G, which is going to let us finish up with our D, F, A flat, and then we back to what we started on, E flat, G, B flat. Okay, so again we've got E flat, G, B flat, F, A flat, C, G, B flat, D, A flat, C, E flat, B flat, D, F, C, E flat, G, D, F, A flat, E flat, G, B flat. Make sure you can do those backwards as well. So the same chord we just stopped on, the E flat, G, B flat. Then you're going to do your D, F, A flat, C, E flat, G, B flat, D, F, A flat, C, E flat, G, B flat, D, F, A flat, C, finish with our E flat, G, B flat. Okay? Now that gives us so far the key of F major, the key of B flat major, and the key of E flat major. That's three flat scales. I'll come back in the next lesson to finish up. There's going to be four more that we'll talk about those. So at this point again, you notice I kind of don't usually go back over all this stuff I've talked about in the previous lessons. I mean, I do as a review. Next, same thing, go back, revisit those. Make sure you understand the scales, what you're doing. what I mean by the chords, because I talk about them in much slower. Next lesson we'll finish up our flat keys. That way I can start talking about something I've shown you, how we can do what we call inversions, so we can kind of start taking chords and putting them closer together. And I'll take the time to start explaining that, but the same thing when you learn it in the key of C major, you can do the same thing in all your other scales. And I will make sure I slow down and explain that. Remember, you can always shoot me an email. TOLstudios.com is my website. Let me know if you've got any questions. If you'd like to share any input, I'd definitely like to know what your thoughts are. I'm always trying to improve the way I teach. Other than that, have some fun. Remember, all the good stuff's coming as far as rock and roll, blues. I promise you I'm going to start making lessons just for blues, just for rock, and you're going to see how it's just coming from this foundation. Have some fun. We'll see you in the next lesson.